I am sorry to say, but due to the glaring ignorance and slander by individuals who have no concern for truth and honesty, I am forced to make another video dealing with the issue of fatalism and whether it flows from Calvinistic theology. Unfortunately, people without the Spirit of God find it more advantageous to spread lies about their opponents rather than to deal honestly with what they believe and to simply accept correction when found to be in error. This is not something to be swept under the rug, as these misrepresentations spread like wildfire among people who listen to those who promote these distortions. In my previous video, I gave 5 definitions for both fatalism and determinism, and provided my sources. It was demonstrated that fatalism concerns itself with events, but does not deny free will, as these fated events are not contingent upon man's choices. Determinism likewise teaches that events are predetermined to occur. However, it denies free will due to the fact that those events which are predetermined are contingent upon the choices of man. Now, to expand a bit more on the aforementioned definition, a cursory internet search of fatalism will reveal that this philosophy teaches that events will occur, quote unquote, no matter what a person does. This is the main difference between these two philosophies. First, notice that such a statement implies that man has free will, since his choices cannot affect the outcome of the fated event. If fatalism denied free will, such statements would be nonsensical. In determinism, the statement, quote unquote, no matter what a person does, wouldn't apply, since everything that happens is contingent upon its antecedent. Logically speaking, if event A is predetermined, and since this event is absolutely dependent upon a choice made by an individual, then obviously such an individual does not have free will. This is precisely why fatalism is illogical. Events cannot be predetermined if man has free will. I will now give 2 examples of fatalism found in movies. In 2002, a movie titled The Time Machine provides us with a great example of fatalism. Towards the beginning of the movie, the wife of the main character dies. He then makes his time machine and attempts to travel back in time to the moment of her death in order to stop her from dying. He succeeds, but only for a short time. His wife ends up dying shortly after from some other accident. After several successful attempts to save her from death, he eventually gives up due to the fact that no matter what he does, he cannot ultimately keep her from dying. Terminator was a wildly popular series of films. In Part 2, they attempted to stop Judgment Day by destroying a computer lab that housed a microchip and forearm of the original Terminator. They succeeded. However, in the 3rd installment of this series, the Terminator shows up just hours before Judgment Day. The main character realizes that even though they had destroyed the lab, they had failed to stop Judgment Day. They only delayed it. I recently saw The Time Traveler's Wife. This movie provides us with yet another example of fatalism, though I will not discuss the details so as not to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. Final Destination is another series that demonstrates this. Now for an analogy. 3 people are out on a boat ride, 2 fatalists and 1 determinist. As they're traversing the waves, one of the fatalists falls over. The other fatalist turns and says to the determinist, "If it is written in the book of destiny that he should live, he will live without our help." The determinist rebuts by stating, "What if it is written in the book of destiny that we throw him a rope?" One more illustration will suffice. Let's say a person is predetermined to die on January 1st, 2011. According to fatalism, this person can die from multiple scenarios. Option 1 is being struck down by a falling tree as they jog down the street. Now let's pretend they foresaw this event in a dream, so while jogging down the street, they picked up the pace as they journeyed past the tree, and they narrowly escaped death, only to end up being run down by a speeding car as they turn the corner. In fatalism, the event fated must take place, but the particulars are not predetermined. According to determinism, not only is the death predetermined, but the exact way in which they die is also predetermined. Using the tree analogy, this person could never avoid the falling tree. The speeding car would never come into play. At this point, given the fact that we now understand these 2 philosophies, I will flip the script on the theistic free willist. Dealing with these individuals who might otherwise be orthodox, I need to point something out. I will provide a single example. These same individuals who clearly despise fatalism are caught in quite the boondoggle. According to Scripture, we are told that Christ is going to return to judge the wicked and set up the eternal kingdom. Acts 1:7 reveals that this event is fixed. It is not for you to know the times or epochs which the Father has fixed by his own authority. Why is this relevant to our discussion? Simply put, anyone who holds to free will yet acknowledges that events, such as the return of Christ, are fixed and must happen no matter what a person does, then how do they escape the charge of fatalism? This position exactly reflects the philosophy of fatalism, but for some reason they change or charge others with this falsehood even when we deny such a position. The facts remain. These two philosophic systems are not the same, and no Calvinist in the history of man has ever claimed fatalism for themselves. So why do opponents of Calvinism make these accusations? As stated earlier, these people are lazy and incompetent in their studies. If presented with the facts and they refuse correction and continue to vomit their lies, they only demonstrate themselves to be without the Spirit of God.